Emmanuel, your certified financial educator, bringing you another edition of Financial Breakthrough Academy. I trust your week is moving very well and you are enjoying every bit of it. We have a lot on our plate today, and I want to have us get right on it in a moment here. We'll be dealing on what I call building your financial profile. Building your financial profile. Okay. Most of us, we have different desires when it comes to finance, goals we have for our business, our family, our ministry, several goals we have, but it's important to understand what our financial profile is so that we will be able to position ourselves well to achieve what we desire to achieve. Now, let's take an important scripture as we get started. Luke chapter 40 verse 28 talks about the fact, for which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it. So right there, Jesus in this parable gives a little clue about the importance of planning, taking the stock, and being able to understand the overall implication of anything that we want to do. And that applies to finance. And we just want to zero in on particularly building our financial profile. What is a financial profile to begin with? A financial profile, when you look at Fidelity, they talk about the fact that your financial profile is our record of your overall financial situation, investing goal, by account, as well as your risk tolerance for risks. Essentially, we rely on this information to understand what types of investments and strategies may fit your personal situation. Now, that speaks to itself, is that right? Everyone's situation is different. We all have different situation when it comes to finance. So we need to understand what our financial profile is so we can be able to make decisions and build on that to expect the best outcome possible. There are several factors that we can consider when we are talking about financial profile, but I will zero in on a few of them, just like 5 key factors that may be of great value when we are dealing with financial profile. And let's get to it one after the other. The first is what I call your earning expectation. Your earning expectation. Every one of us may have a desire financially to achieve a specific level of earnings or project revenue or goals. It's very critical when you are building your financial profile to understand what your earning expectation is. In other words, what financial goal do you have? How much do you want to save to retirement? How much money are you trying to accumulate for maybe your child's education? Perhaps maybe you have a goal to build a business. What kind of earning expectation are you looking forward to get out of any investment you have, whether the money is directly in the markets, whether you are saving it in the bank or some kind of vehicle you are using? It's important to understand the earning expectation you have for your money. So that's the first important key factor we want to look at. How much money do we want to make? What is our financial goal? What's our overall financial goal when it comes to our earning expectation? The second factor I want to address is what we call your level of risk tolerance. Your level of risk tolerance. All of us have a certain level of risk tolerance, okay? Basically, your risk tolerance measures to what extent you can afford to lose part or a significant amount of your investment. Is that right? So, if you have any kind of investment, your risk tolerance measures how comfortable or not you may be when it comes to the investment you have and the potential of losing part of it. So in building your financial profile, you look at whether you are somebody who is risk tolerant or you are risk averse. What that simply means is if you are risk tolerant, you can still map potential loss of to some degree, to some extent, or you are risk averse that you do not, really take kindly losing a chunk of your portfolio. Is that right? So your level of risk tolerance is a key factor when you are trying to build your financial profile, and that helps you to understand to what extent, to what degree you can be able to have the level of investment and the degree of investment you want. So that's an important factor right there. The next key factor is what I call the time horizon. How long can you leave your money invested? Are you looking at something short term, maybe 1 to 2 or 3 years? Are you looking at a little bit more long term or mid term, 5 years, much longer term, 15, 20, 30 years down the road? Your time horizon is an important key factor when you are building your financial profile. It allows you to be able to plan and see what kind of investment choices you will make. Is that right? Are you going to put money in some bonds or mutual funds or a little business activity, a real estate? What kind of real estate? Whatever the investment vehicle that you choose, your time horizon will play an important role in allowing you to determine what kind of risk financial profile you can build for yourself. So your time horizon is an important factor when you're building your investment profile. Basically, you answer the question, how long can you leave your money invested? Some of us, we are maybe willing to keep our money for 5 months or 6 months or in a year maximum or 2 years, and we want to have it back. Well, the kind of time horizon you have will determine the vehicle, the investment vehicle you may want to consider. Is that right? If you have a very short time horizon, maybe 1 or 2 years, perhaps it may be a good idea just to keep the money in a bank with a CD or something like that, whereby you can liquidate it very easily when you are ready to. But if you have a much longer, I would say, investment time horizon, then you can consider much more long-term investment vehicles, maybe in the markets or some government treasury bonds or something of the nature, whereby you think, you can keep it there to have the maximum potential of return. So again, we are dealing with building your financial profile, and one factor that is very important is your time horizon, whether you have a short term, mid or long term time horizon. Okay, right. Now, the third is again the time horizon. Let's look at the next important factor. Your next important factor is your emergency fund. Your emergency fund. Basically, we want to answer the question, how much have you saved in case of an emergency? How much money have you saved in case of an emergency? This is very, very critical, because the idea is that anytime you have money invested, your goal is to have it to build more, grow, allow it to compound over time. Remember, the longer the time period, the more likely you're going to allow time and compound interest to work on your behalf to get the maximum yield over time. Now, nobody knows where any investment will go, is that right? However, it's most likely, especially in the market, if you are looking at just the market, for example, the longer it is, the much likely you are able to have returns. So, if we want to build a strong financial profile, we need to know what is our emergency fund level. How much have we saved in case of an emergency? Because what will happen is that if there is an emergency, you don't want a situation where you have to liquidate your investment, your long-term investment, just to take care of an emergency. So the idea, and we teach a lot when we do one-on-one consultation, is to build somewhere 3 to 6 months of your family's income. It's a good idea to have that built in an emergency fund. Some people go all the way to maybe a year or two, depending on your level, but it is ideal to start the process. The main goal is to start the process. If you can start the process of building an emergency fund, again, 3 to 6 months is a good starting point. If you say you're earning $2,000 a month, three of times of it is what, 6,000, up to 6 it was 12,000. That's the goal. So you build that gradually. One way you can do is to set it on autopilot from your checking account to your savings account gradually every month, 10% of it or 5%, whatever you choose to do or you're comfortable with. as you build that emergency fund to up to 3 to 6 months, you have that buffer. That will be an important factor in building your personal financial profile, enables you to be able to know how you stand when it comes to investing for long-term growth. So again, the key factor here is your emergency fund. Answering the question, how much have you saved in case of an emergency? An emergency could be, something catastrophic, or maybe your house simply just needs a as emergency repair of the boiler, or heater, or something like that. So that is the goal we teach to be able to enable us to build that. So that's the fourth. And the last key factor here, I mean, there are several of them. I'm just highlighting five of it. The last key factor is your level of financial education. In fact, financial literacy, actually, April here in the United States is called the Financial Literacy Month in the United States, and it is said that a lot of us are really, when it comes to financial literacy, lacking very much. Our goal for this education sessions, Financial Breakthrough Academy, is to provide some content, educational content, that will enable you to increase your knowledge base when it comes to finance. Now, we all have expertise, all right? When you go to the doctor is trained, has the expertise to maybe diagnose and help you understand what you are dealing with, medically speaking. But we as patients, if you go there, we want to have a basic understanding to know how to take our medications, if we need a B and all that. Even in ministry, as pastors, is that right? We are supposed to be more knowledgeable teachers of the word, but the congregation has to also learn some and be knowledgeable in the word of God for themselves. It's the same principle. When it comes to finance, there are some who have devoted their time, like some of us, to learn and to be more in depth and understand financial concept, so we can help and teach. However, every one of us must also make the determination and the effort to educate him or herself when it comes to finance. So when you are building your financial profile, you want to ask yourself, what level of financial education do you have? I'm not talking about formal education. I'm talking about self-education. Are you a beginner? Just able to understand how to balance your checkbooks and stuff like that, or you have intermediary knowledge of, perhaps understand what interest rates and 4Ks and stuff maybe through your employer is, or you may be advanced whereby you are doubling the markets and things like that. Whatever your level of education is, it will go a long way in crafting your financial profile. Is going to help you understand what your financial profile is. So that is a fifth important key factor when you want to address building your financial profile. It's so important as something to understand. If you are able to understand what your financial profile is, it's going to go a long way in helping you in your investment choices, your spending decisions, your financial planning, maybe college for your kids, perhaps saving for a new down payment for a house, whatever your financial goal may be, that will come in handy a lot. So these are the five main. And let me give a quick summary of these five main key factors. I mean, there are several of them. I just narrowed them down to five to give us some quick highlights of what we can understand as financial key factors. So I talked about your earning expectation is a key factor. How much you expect to earn from a specific investment is an important factor. Your risk tolerance is an important factor. Are you somebody who is willing, able to stomach losses of any investment, or you are risk averse, where you really don't want to lose money at all? You want to examine yourself and evaluate your personal risk tolerance. I talked about that your time horizon. Are you investing for short term, mid-term, or long term? It goes to speak to what kind of investment choice you may make, whether you're trying to put your money in real estate, maybe you're trying to invest in some other assets, put some more money in some kind of financial instrument through your employer, 401k, whatever that time horizon is. That's important to understand. And we mentioned your emergency fund, building an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months is a good starting point. Again, it doesn't have to be overnight. You start the process of building that emergency fund. And then we also mentioned the fact that we have to understand our personal level of financial education. It's basic things like what we're doing here, sharing information, being able to consume bite-sized content that enables you to enrich your knowledge when it comes to finance so you can make the decisions necessary for yourself, for your family, for your business, and for whatever is most important to you. So again, what we just came today to talk about is to give you a quick overview of what it takes to build your financial profile. It's so important that we understand what our financial profile is. So it enables us to make informed decision when we are planning for retirement, planning for college saving for our kids, planning for investing in a project perhaps back home, planning on any kind of investment, or I would say long-term financial plan we have. Understanding your financial profile, knowing your earning expectation, your risk profile, your time horizon, knowing that you have what kind of emergency fund you build for yourself, and your level of financial education goes a long way to enable you to build a very important, strong financial profile for yourself. Uh, Otherwise, that is basically what we wanted to share today. For those of us who want to be able to speak to us, we can be reached before any time. If you need to speak to us, 720-588-9717, or you can go online to eliasonconsulting.com/financial planning to start the process of even understanding and building your own financial profile and being able to build basic financial concepts for yourself. We are always open to reaching out to people, to our community, churches. If you have a community you want us to speak anywhere in the country, we will be available to come and speak and help you build your community and understand what financial concept may look for your community. Again, this has been Emmanuel, your certified financial educator, coming to you of Financial Breakthrough Academy. Have an excellent rest of the day, and we'll be back very soon.